It's the Deets. In association with What's Good Calgary, starring your host, Duddy Does It. Featuring MAXMILLS.
I actually wore flip-flops today, so he would appreciate that.
Well, I see your fancy sold socks.
Yeah, my realtor socks.
I like those.
I work in new home sales.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
I have no...
We don't know each other.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. It's funny, though, like your Instagram friends. I've known people for like 5 years, and I've never met them.
Yeah.
And like I feel like I'm like best friends with them.
I know.
It's funny.
It happens all the time. That happened with my guest last week. We met on Marketplace, and then we...
On Marketplace?
Yeah. And then
You're selling something?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, so we're rolling. Let's just get started. Can you introduce yourself to the audience?
Well, for even you, I guess.
Yeah.
We don't even know each other. MAXMILLS. I am from Kelowna, BC. I moved to Calgary about 8 years ago. Local realtor in Calgary. So just started my own real estate team. And obviously, you know, Sean, business partners with Mr. Getty.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's awesome. So how long have you been in Calgary?
8 years. So yeah, like full time 4 years. But I worked on the rigs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's this was like my halfway house as I lived in BC and Kelowna. So I ended up starting to buy rental properties here. And then that's how I actually worked into real estate. So
you bought them with your rig money?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a funny story. I was probably one of the first people. I started buying Airbnb properties. So I was like one of the OGs. That was probably 7 years ago, which it wasn't like a big thing. But I had a buddy, my best friend's brother, who is a lawyer out here. He's like, why don't you put some of this money, like you're making crazy money for a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
He's like, why don't you put some of this away and just stop pissing it away partying? I'm like, that's probably a good idea. So I started reading some books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then that's what got the gears turning.
Yeah, because I know, I don't know anything about the rigs, but all my friends, I was working in clubs when I was around that age, and all my friends would come in and buy bottle service, and they would have like ATVs and stuff, and they just blew all their money.
That's the lifestyle up there.
Yeah.
And you're in the bush for 3 weeks at a time, and like you're in the middle of nowhere sometimes. So like you're not seeing people. And sometimes you have to stay in for an extra hitch. So it can be 5-6 weeks. You come out of there and you're like a zombie. You don't even know what's happened in the world, and you just want to literally just get after it.
How did you get into that?
Into the oil rigs?
Yeah.
So my dad, when he grew up, he did diamond drilling.
Mm-hmm.
So
like up north, or?
Yeah, he was in northern BC. So it's just kind of blue collar was in the bloodline.
Yeah.
So he was pushing me to do that. And then his business partner was a consultant for the energy company, oil company that I ended up working with for 7 years.
Yeah, because I think BC, and it's like they don't really like that.
No, but there is lots of rigs working up in northern BC.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. They're not pro oil by any fucking means.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's definitely.
So what did you do on the rigs?
I worked up to motor hand. So I got there quite quickly in like 6 months, and then I just kind of chilled. I knew probably 2-3 years in. I was actually going to go and try and be petroleum engineer.
Okay.
That was like my whole game plan, and then I just got roped into they call it the golden handcuffs, where it's just the money's so good at such a young age. I was like, I don't want to go back to school.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
So
what did you actually like? What did you do day to day?
So that was like motor hand. So you're just literally just working on engines and then just making sure the rig runs. So you're checking on generators, obviously some labor, right? It's a very labor intensive job.
Like a month at a time? Yeah. Pretty much? And then a week?
Yeah, week off. Yeah. My schedule is usually 3 weeks on, 1 off.
So were you just partying mostly at first? when you got
on my days off.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then like I got in probably 2 years in. I'm like, holy fuck, I haven't saved any money. Like then I got heavily into traveling. So every days off I would go traveling.
Yeah.
And then I just started reading books really, and that got me into like, okay, I should probably start investing this money.
Were you taking care of yourself at the time, like your body, and were you still?
I was always in the gym, but never like when you're drinking, you can't like you're not right. You're maintaining at best. I liked obviously fitness and being in the gym and looking good, being a rig pig.
Yeah.
But it kind of worked into that. Yeah, like when you're traveling and stuff, it was.
Because I see now you're pretty dialed in. It looks like you're doing hard 75 or 75 hard.
I feel like I've been on that for like 3 years straight.
Are you just doing it over and over?
I try to do it twice a year. I failed it a ton of times. Like that is it's a bitch.
Yeah.
That program. Like you have to dedicate 2.5 months of your life. Like you can't do anything.
Yeah.
Right? It's just literally business and that. Like there's no traveling, you can't do anything on it, right?
People might not know what that is. So
yes.
Tell me.
So Andy Frisella created this program. It's it's for your mental, and that's actually why I do it as well. Like whenever my business is kind of flatlining and I'm like, I have to get my physical right and feel good, and then obviously not partying, not drinking. But the program consists of 2 workouts a day, 45 minutes each. One has to be outside. You have to drink 3.8 liters of water, read 10 pages, and then no alcohol.
So, and you're kind of in the middle of one right now, right?
Yeah,
or near the end?
The ass end of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Last 15 days.
When you fail, do you start over, or do you?
It's like I said, like I've completed it 2 times. To like people do it, and I'm like, you didn't do it. Like you can just tell results, right? I'm like, you fucking didn't do it. Like you're before and like when I did it, it's like dude, you're drinking 4 liters of water. 2 workouts a day. Like you can't. Like the results are inevitable.
What did you fail on?
A lot of is usually drinking. So I've failed a couple times drinking, and then. Like when you're like 2 months in, you're like, fuck, or like I travel quite a bit. Yeah. So it's like the temptation is like, all right.
Yeah.
Right? But yeah, it's usually the alcohol.
You get started pretty early. You worked out like a couple hours ago today?
Yeah. I usually start 5:30.
Nice.
But like my first workout now, like I used to be crazier. Like I even work out twice a day when I'm not on it. It's just there's things that I've picked up from the program that I do every day regardless, right? And that's the whole idea behind this program.
Yeah.
Everyone bitches and complains. They're like, oh, it's not sustainable, like 75. It's like, of course it's not. Yeah. It's like, in what fucking world is that sustainable? It's supposed to be a challenge, right? It's not. You're supposed to just pick up a few of those habits and better your life. So every time you do it, you're picking up something different, right? Or trying at least.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that it sticks. That's the whole point of it for sure.
But now like so I work out twice a day every day. It's just something I have to do now, just for even my mental health.
Do you still drink the water?
Yeah. The water's that's probably the easiest.
I stopped drinking
I'm a water slut.
I stopped drinking a couple years ago now, I guess. I mean, I drank at my bachelor party the other day, but which was different now that I haven't been drinking.
Probably still hungover.
It lasted a couple days. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's like me too. Why I don't like drinking.
Yeah.
And that's why I do it for my business is when you're drinking once a week, like 2 of those days are fucking write-offs.
That's why I hate wasting the day or 2 days.
Yeah.
I have so much time now that I don't drink.
And it's like with that time, you're like, you want to do something productive, especially if you're in the gym, you're doing whatever, working out, sports, like those extra hours, you want to be productive, right? When you're hungover, you're like, I'm good just eating, skip the fucking dishes and doing nothing.
I ate a box of Pizza Pops.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, you're okay with that because you're like, my body needs this recovery, needs to filtrate this poison out.
Yeah.
Right?
Normally, like lately it's like ground turkey and rice all the time. And then when I was hungover, I sent my fiance, just get me 8-10 Pizza Pops, whatever they come in.
We're good for the day.
Yeah. And some Pedialyte.
That's good. That's good shit too for
Yeah.
hangover. I mean, and it's all in balance. Like once in a while, 100%.
Mm-hmm.
There is certain times that I'm like, if I am traveling or I hit a milestone in my life, it's like, yeah, you should go and get after it, right?
Yeah.
But it's like when you're drinking once a week just for the fucking weekend,
Mm-hmm.
to me and you're not where you want to be, you haven't hit your goals.
Yeah.
People are just drinking because you worked fucking 5 days in a row, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I got nothing accomplished before, and since I stopped drinking, I'm now getting married in 2 weeks. I get possession of my house in
yeah, I saw that.
3 weeks.
You used the wrong fucking realtor, but we'll let it slide.
That's what everyone's been saying. Every realtor I have on Instagram.
But everyone knows 6 realtors, so I don't feel
Yeah,
bad.
I sold my condo,
Yeah, you were saying.
and then I bought a house. I get possession in 3 weeks.
Congrats.
Thanks.
Where'd you buy?
Hidden Valley.
That's a good area.
It's pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm excited. We'll see.
You
I
bought
had-
at the right time.
I found out after that. So most of the house is poly B, and we didn't see it at first
That's
until the
whatever, though.
inspection. Yeah,
That's 15 grand. You can redo the whole house.
yeah, that's what the quote was. Pretty much. Nice.
And that was like a big scare 2 years ago because insurance companies weren't insuring it.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, oh no, Poly B, like collapsing deals over it. And it's like a $15,000 fix. Like at the very worst.
Yeah.
Right?
And my insurance company didn't care at all. Actually.
Yeah. So now they do it like a lot of companies will do it for like a $10 a month premium.
Mhm.
It's like who's to say your fucking PEX piping is not gonna leak? You know,
Yeah.
who put that together? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. They didn't care. They said as long as there's no history of claims, then
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
And it's obviously better that it's not, but like for 20 years, every house was made with that.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you're not going to just eliminate that and unfortunately people did walk away from deals because of it. But
Yeah. I thought about it, but then I talked to some people.
yeah, you do.
I actually had a guy on the podcast who was kind of an expert on poly B. That was his whole thing.
Urban Piping?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the man.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
I only released a couple clips, but I still have more to come.
He's really good, and they do a proper job of it.
Mhm.
Like it just remediate it, right? Try to get ahead of the problem, and it's they tell you the upfront costs or
He
where
gave
you
me
need it.
Quote, yeah, drywall texturing.
How much
all-
was it, the whole thing?
Like 15, 16.
Bang
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about.
I know. You don't even know what the house looks like or anything. But
No.
yeah,
He's really good shit. I like him.
that's a good segue into when you're looking at places, what are some like red flag things that you look for right away?
When you're walking, you're looking for defects, right?
Mhm.
So like obviously the foundation is probably the biggest one, but obviously your water tank, your furnace, and the building envelope, right? The roof. Those are going to be the main components of the house.
Yeah.
But in a market like this, where it's such low inventory, you're not gonna, like, obviously foundation. You want to do an inspection, but if you're in competing, you can't even get an inspection, and you're never gonna win.
It's tough.
Right? So
Yeah.
you have to do a good walkthrough of the house and just look for these things. You need a realtor to look for poly B, shit like that, right?
Yeah.
You got to get kind of ahead of some of these problems, but also you got to tell your client that, like what is the cost associated with this deficiency,
Yeah.
right? Is this reflective of the price? Did they price that in? Things like that. And then obviously knowing the market's going to keep skyrocketing, like I'll take a roof that needs to be done, right? If I know the house is going to go up 100K in value.
Yeah. Do you specialize in anything? Like I see you post a lot about Airbnb friendly buildings. Is that
Yeah,
kind of-
like investments. That's just like Airbnbs or whatever, but investments in general. So most of my portfolio are people that are investor heavy. So they're buying multiple properties every year from me.
Were they? Did you start off with your like friends from the rig and?
Yeah, a lot of
kind of
it,
thing?
and then a lot from Okanagan, right?
Oh, yeah.
And people that, it's funny, it's like everyone's like, oh, Calgary's so expensive, but like when you outreach to different provinces, people understand what's happening in this market, and they're like, well, no, it's actually dirt cheap, right?
I
so
had
it's like an
people
easier.
from Vancouver call the condo building I sell. They didn't even ask the price.
Yeah.
They were like, "I'll just take the top floor." I was like,
I've
"What?"
had people from Toronto, like this is like the mayhem out of COVID, and they're like, I'm like we can do this all virtually, everything, like I'll whip down. They're like, no, you don't, I don't even need
Yeah.
video. I'm like, okay, 150K over asking, unconditional. And the guy, I'm like there's 15 offers here. There's a certain math you can do, and in certain markets kind of dictate how much over it's gonna go. I'm like, I don't even think you need to go that high. And they're like, no, it's fine. Like, we want it. They're laughing about it, right? Because like 400K over asking price was normal for them.
Yeah, one of my condos, the girl was laughing because her parking stall in downtown Vancouver was the same price as the condo she was buying. She just had
Parking stall.
Yeah.
See how fucked up that is, right?
That's crazy.
But you'll talk to people in Calgary and they're like, oh my God, like I would never pay that for a house. And it's just like, well, you got used to recession house prices, oil and gas recession house prices, and pandemic interest rates.
Yeah.
Right? House shouldn't be 350 fucking thousand. In my professional opinion, I believe this is what a house should be worth. 650, 700,000 for a brand new house. Like,
the worst thing I hear from people that live here is that they're waiting for the prices to come back down.
no, they're waiting for the interest rates. And it's like, how much data do you have to fucking shove down these people's throat?
That's why everyone from BC and Ontario are buying them, because like, just follow what they're doing. They're buying everything from under you.
And a lot of the people that are like that I talk to, it's hilarious. It's because they're like, I missed out. I saw what's happening there. I missed out in BC, right?
Yeah.
I miss that. I'm not missing out now. So they're just buying up investments, and people, you know, that the smart ones that are listening are going to be multi-millionaires.
And you're buying some too, right?
I have seven
That's
properties
awesome.
here now. Yeah.
All in Calgary?
Yeah.
I saw you got registered in BC.
I am as well. Yeah. I'm born and raised there. So I have deals that are sitting there, right. For friends and family. And that's all. I will buy real estate. It's actually softened quite a bit in BC. So I'll be looking at possibly buying something there second half of the year.
Did the fires affect the prices in Kelowna?
Not so much the prices, but just the sales, right? Every kind of scared people away.
Yeah.
The prices were already softening from interest rates. That's the only thing that's reflective of pricing right now.
So is there more inventory there now?
Yeah, there was a surge. It's because the interest rates are so high. People are kind of scared away from, right?
Yeah.
And their house price is so much higher than here.
What's the market like there? Is it mostly like summer home, vacation homes, or is
it's a lot of that.
retire?
Yeah. Like you go there in the summer and it's just red plates. So it's a lot of rich, retired Albertans move there.
Yeah.
A lot of like growing up on the lake, we would like run around and do like dock jumping, being little shitheads.
Yeah.
Just running on, and nobody was ever home. It was like these people literally come, these, you know, $3 million houses.
Yeah.
They're there for 1 week of the fucking year.
So what's it like in the winter?
Kelowna's, it's gray. It's like super gloomy.
Yeah.
It's a mild winter. It's nothing like here, but it's just nobody's there, right? It's like a seasonal party vacation town.
Yeah. So the people that live there, are they mostly trying to get out to bigger places? Or?
Yeah, like I have a lot of friends that still live there, and they just like, you'll have the locals that just love the outdoor lifestyle.
Yeah.
Right. So they're content, not making crazy money, just kind of getting by, but living, you know, $1 million lifestyle.
Yeah. So are you gonna fly out there in the summer?
Yeah.
And
I'll just
work there?
Fly back and forth.
Nice.
So I'll probably buy a place there, so when I'm there, and then Airbnb it when I'm not there.
It must be nice to y'all just buy a place there. That's awesome.
Many years of working hard and investing.
Let's get into the story then about how you transitioned from the rigs to real estate.
So how I was kind of explaining it, I was working there on the rigs, and then I started to buy investment properties. So Airbnb at the time, it was just a cheap entry point. That's all I could really get approved for. And then I started buying them up, and then my realtor was like, I was kind of explaining to him that I've been looking for a way out. And he's like, I think you'd be really good at this. If you want a job, finish your course and then call me. I'm like, if you're serious, I'll do it. And I think he just thought I was full of shit. And he's like, no, I'll give you a job. So it took me 1.5 years, which is like pretty long. The course was different back then than it is now. But
Were you
I was
taking it seriously? Like,
I was working on the rigs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, you got to have some motivation to go work 12 hours and minus 40 swinging a hammer.
Yeah.
And then want to go home
Yeah.
with your 2 hours of free time and read paperwork.
Yeah.
Right. But that's why it took me quite a while. I picked away at it. So then I got my license. I came back to him, and the lying fuck didn't have a job for me. But no, he's like, I have a guy at our brokerage who's starting a team.
Yeah.
He'll hire you. So he set me up with him. Little did I know that was probably the worst decision I could have made. First job, I was like, oh, this is awesome. I'm getting off the rigs. I didn't read the fine print. I got fucked on the commission split. So I ended up only getting like 30% of my deals, which like regular team is 50-50.
Yeah.
But I learned a lot that year. Definitely had to pay my dues, which I was used to coming from the rigs. And then I went on and I met Sean.
Nice. Was it still good money getting the 30%? Like,
No, I made like $38,000. I was below the poverty line.
So that's good that you didn't quit.
Yeah, well, I was about to. I called Sean. I'm like, hey, I'm probably going back to the rigs. Like,
I had a note about that. I asked him any notes. He said almost quitting 1 month from quitting.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like I didn't even have 1 month float.
Yeah.
And then I was leaving. I was like, hey man, he kind of, one meeting we had a breakdown. It was like Wolf of Wall Street moment. I don't know if he told you, but I was like, this all sounds too good to be true. Like this seems like a totally different job than what I was just working.
Yeah.
How you're explaining how you get your business, the prospecting. I'm like, I was just sitting pounding a phone for 8-10 hours a day.
Yeah.
I was like, and you're telling me I don't have to make cold calls? I was like, this is bullshit. I was like, show me how much you make. So he like slid his laptop over, pulled up. I looked at it. I was like, holy fuck.
That is like Wolf of Wall Street. That's like that scene.
I was like in 1 month, I got 1 month under contract with this guy. I was like, I'm coming to you. And Sean probably thought I was full of shit. He's like, how many people tell him that, right?
Yeah.
And now I know that when people come to me and they tell you they're going to do all this. But yeah, a month and a day, I joined them.
Yeah, it's different. It's like the job is really changed a lot.
Yeah, it's not like you watch $1 Million Listing. Everyone thinks that's real estate. It's like, it is so fucking far from that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's like it is a dirty job. Like you have to succeed in this business. You're not going to have weekends, right? You have to sacrifice a lot because.
Yeah. And there's so much like social media stuff that goes into it now that I see older realtors don't even know how to log in.
But you want to know why? Why'd they make it? Because they did the gritty shit.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, like, you think, go do property tours every day. Like, that's not going to get you, multiple six figures. I hate to break it to you. That's a good one stream. You should be building a brand. I agree 100%. But if you're not making calls, you're not knocking on doors, doing the gritty shit, you're not going to make it.
A lot of new people just try to do the social media part and fail? Because I see that it's like the new
TikTok realtors.
Flight attendant. Like I see a lot of girls, they're a realtor all of a sudden, and then in 4 months, they're not a realtor anymore.
And it's like there's a 90, I forget it's a crazy fail rate in the first 2 years, around 90%. And it's just because of these expectations that you're going to come in and just your friends and family.
It probably shows like $1 Million Listing too.
And all these people that are doing these property tours, I do them, right? Mm-hmm. By all means, you should. It's good for branding, but don't just rely on that. Like social media now is pretty much 90% of my business, but it took 2 years of building up a clientele to get that social media rolling.
What do you do? So you were door knocking. Door
knocking was my biggest one.
What do you do? You go door to door and ask if they
I have like a whole script, and like I made this script off of I don't know how many tens of thousands of doors, right? So you're constantly saying things. Some stuff isn't working, so you just constantly have to revert and change the script.
Yeah.
And now I have it to like the most bulletproof highest return that I possibly can out of that script. I get all the information. I can bring value to anyone at the door, whether you're a buyer, seller, or renter, right? So if any of you are looking to join, the script's bulletproof.
What are you looking for? You're looking for people that want to sell?
Yeah, it's like anything in sales. You knock on their door. Hey, you want to sell your house? No, fuck off. I don't want to sell my house.
Yeah.
How are you going to get somebody to sell their house?
Yeah.
You have to bring them value. So I bring them value by, a lot of people don't even know what the value of their home is. Mm-hmm. Some people are like, no, your house is worth $100K more than you think. And they're like, fuck no. I'm like, no. One of my favorite stories is this. I was door knocking. The girl's like, no, this one sold for $550. This is like 6 months ago. I'm like, listen. I'm like, I'll come back tomorrow. Your husband will be here. I'll show you comparables. I'll sell this for $650 in a day. She's like, bullshit. Come back tomorrow. So I come in there, and then they see it. They're like, I show them all the comparables. They're like, okay, maybe this guy isn't full of shit. And they have no idea, right? Like, some people just they probably weren't motivated to sell, weren't looking because they didn't think they could get that number. So I showed them. They're like, okay, we'll let you list this. And then we have a house that we want. And it was 1.5 million. So I'm like, holy fuck, like 650. So 2 million just off one door.
Yeah.
Ended up doing exactly what I said. I was like, let me list yours. I'll get an accepted offer on this one. This $1.5 million house has been on for like 90 days or something. I'm like, I'll go get you $100K off this house. So we sold theirs $650 one day, multiple offers. I think it was actually, not that it was full asking. And then they're like, holy shit. Like, like, okay, let's go and get this. And then we ended up getting it. Yeah, I got them $100K off that house. It's like a 3-day negotiation of connecting the puzzle.
That's awesome for 3 days.
Yeah, literally. And like the check it was insane. It was like a $40,000 check.
Yeah, I bet a lot of people they just think, oh, I have, 3,000 followers on TikTok and that'll translate easily. You got,
man, it's every day. You got to do the things every day. It's
especially if there's so many people trying to do it. It's like some people are just picking out of their friend group hat of which realtor to use.
And that's like, and people like posting a property tour, cool, right? Mm-hmm. But if you see somebody doing that and then me posting every day, strategies, right? Tactics, how you can buy more properties, how you can get the most out of your property. Who are you going to use?
Yeah.
Again, you're bringing value. So when you're doing your social media, that stuff's good for branding. But if you're not talking on the camera, like you're having a conversation with these people, you want to be a spotlight, right? You want to be attracting people coming to you.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're just doing property tours, you're showing no value. You're building a cool brand, but if you don't sell any houses, then you just disappear and you have to go do something else.
Yeah, so you do see a lot of people come in and leave?
Yeah, tons.
Yeah.
And like all these people, okay, I'll do all this, and then they have to do the gritty shit. You're like, this is what you got to do. You got to constantly post. You got to do our Facebook strategies. You got to door knock. You have to do all of it, right? You can't just do one thing. Do
you take people into your team? Like, does this happen directly to you, seeing people fail under you?
Yeah. Like not so much like to our organization, right?
Yeah.
Or they'll come and like tons of people. I'm friends with tons of realtors, right? And I'm seeing what they're doing, and they're not even with us at EXP or under me.
Yeah.
I do have a ton of friends at Real and these Remax and stuff, and I watch them struggle. I'm like, for fuck's sakes, like just fucking get out of your own way. You know what I mean?
It's a little bit, EXP is kind of set up a little bit different than some of the
it's a cloud-based brokerage, so they have no overhead costs. They're able to give revenue share and stock options back to the agents.
Yeah.
So it's essentially 3 streams of income in one, right? And there was like the EXP had a bad name for a while because it was like MLI. They only recruit agents, right?
Mm-hmm. And then I've heard that, but it seems like everyone I know that works for EXP is doing well. So
yeah, why not use all those options? Why not? So I'm not an attraction agent. I don't give a fuck about attraction. Mm-hmm. I'm like, let me get my results up, and then naturally I'll attract agents being like, how'd you do this? I'm like, it's not hard. It's in our training, right? I'll show you. I'll give you the whole blueprint. Sean makes 7 figures a year.
It seems like everyone's always training, and it's like a good group of people. So it's not like a MLM where you just get people to sign up, never talk to them again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're not selling a product, right?
Yeah.
It's totally different. It's unfortunate. Now EXP is getting a better rap because you have teams like Justin Haver. Do you know how many fucking brokerages that guy would have interviewed? Like, it was I heard a 2-year move for him to switch over brokerages because his team's so large, 60 agents or whatever. And then, like, he's probably got 80 employees, right? With all of his admin, virtual assistants, everything.
And it probably was expensive to go around changing all the billboards, and there's marketing for him everywhere.
It's millions of dollars a year is what that marketing is.
Yeah, that's crazy that he came over. I mean, if he did, there must be a reason.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm telling you, it's like, it's just, and some people are like, even when I was at my old brokerage, my first year, I remember talking to my team lead, and I was like, the fucking bullshit that people would talk about EXP. I didn't even know Getty. I actually got introduced to Sean from one of the biggest Remax teams in the city. He was trying to pillage me over to his team. I said, I'm not doing a team. I said, what do you think about EXP? I'm like, what I'm reading is like, I'm into stocks, revenue shares crazy. I'm like, this all seems too good to be true. He's like, if I was a solo agent, that's where I'd be going. He's like, I personally wouldn't build a team over there. And I don't even think he really knew the full effect of it. Mm-hmm. But like my old team lead is like, he's like, don't, EXP costs $8,000 to join and like all this shit. I'm like, oh, okay, like maybe I won't. And I stayed there, and then I'm like, why is that? I'm seeing more in EXP. Like, people aren't paying $8K just to sign up. So he's like, reach out to this guy. He runs a coaching program for free. This would be the guy that I would join, and it was Sean.
Yeah.
So I followed Sean within 3 seconds. He was in my DMs, and then I met up with him, and I found all of that to be bullshit. He's like, no, it costs $0 to join. I'm like, what the fuck? So it was pretty crazy. But
yeah. So you learned a lot from him right off the start.
From Sean?
Yeah.
Shawnee Tuskanoos? Yeah, I did. I would say I did learn a lot in that first year. I learned a totally different side of the business. Mm-hmm. So like the cold calling, understanding how a team works and how a team doesn't work.
Yeah.
So then I knew coming off of that, I was like, I want to start my own team and not treat people like shit. You know what I mean? Like actually care about their livelihood and want to see them succeed and have all the things that they wish. Take their families on vacations and stuff.
How big's your team now?
I have 3 agents under me, so I just started it. Mm-hmm. But like in my organization, I have 71 at EXP in my downline. So I'm looking only to grow my team to like 5 agents.
Yeah. Are you going to have someone specifically in Kelowna?
I'm going to grow my own branch out there, and I probably want to have a team of 5 out there as well.
Oh, okay.
I don't want a huge team. I want to tighten it.
Yeah.
Again, because I give a fuck about these agents and I want to see them win. Like in my first year, not once did the guy go, are you doing well? Yeah. Like, how's your bank account? Like, are you making your bills? So it's like, that's a team I want to create.
I had a note here about you almost dying. That's all, the whole note. Almost dying.
That's fun. Just out of fucking nowhere. Real estate.
I so far past. That was supposed to be right off the start. So I just wanted to. It seems important because you almost died.
Was that Getty?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Did you? Or was that?
A couple times.
Oh, okay.
No, when I was younger, I got almost stabbed to death. So I was in a street fight.
Oh, in Kelowna?
Yeah, I got stabbed neck, chest, and my leg. I grew up on the grittier side of things. So yeah, like
my cousin was from Kelowna. She got stabbed at a house party and died. I'm
extremely sorry to hear that. It's fucked up.
Is it dangerous there? I didn't know that about Kelowna.
You can have that anywhere, right? Yeah. It was. I grew up a little bit rougher, not like crime family, but like family was bikers and intertwined with that life. So I was street fighting a lot. this wouldn't happen to like, you know, anyone, right? You put yourself in those situations, and this was unfortunate, but I did fight a lot. So it was, you know, if you talk to somebody in my past life, I'd probably tell you that I was going to jail or die. Right?
Yeah.
But this was kind of a freak accident. It was at a ski hill. And then the guy like attacked my brother and his girlfriend. So there was 2 of them. They were like kicking her on the ground and whatever. It was just a brawl, right? Late at night. I ran up. I started fighting the one, dragged him in a ditch, was on top of him, and then the other guy came from behind. And then he shanked me in the neck, chest, and the leg.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was in a coma for like 7 days.
Wow. How old were you?
21. I'll be honest with you, like even the vascular surgeon, he's like, I don't know. I've seen miracles. He's like, this you shouldn't be here.
Yeah. That's insane.
So he had to like synthetically rebuild my whole vein. Like he severed the femoral vein, punctured the artery, collapsed my lungs, punctured my trachea, my windpipe.
Did they put you in a coma to heal, or
4 days was like just natural, and then they induced for 3 days for all, you know, obviously the body when you're on the brink. Like,
did that stop you from fighting after?
No, surprisingly.
Oh.
I was still like in that lifestyle, but like even after that happened, I was like, I had like a hate for the world for like a year. You know, I was just like, why me? Right?
Yeah.
And then, they didn't know if I was going to make a full recovery when I woke up. It was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
But when I woke up, they didn't know if I was paralyzed. I couldn't feel my feet. So they were like running tests, and like I thought I was paralyzed for like the first 20 minutes when I woke up. So
wow. And what were you thinking at that time? Were you thinking anything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was like, if I'm paralyzed, I couldn't feel my feet. I couldn't, and they're running tests, and like you can see, like the nurses getting like starting to panic.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh fuck, like I'm here like this, but like nothing's moving. You don't really even know what happened. They tell you, they're like, you just got fucking stabbed.
Yeah. He didn't give me a lot of information. That was a crazy change of pace I pulled there.
I've told it so many times, but it's like I've told it so many times. To me, it's like I've healed. I'm not. Obviously, it's emotional, but it's like seeing the reactions when you tell somebody it. They're like, oh shit.
Did that have any long-term consequences?
No.
Maybe mentally.
Mentally. Now it's like, you know, you're here for a reason, right? Let's inspire. Let's do the right things.
Yeah. Was it, so it's just random? A random attack, or?
That was totally random. But like I said, I've been in like 60 one-on-one street fights. Like I fought a lot. So. Have you
ever been badly injured from that?
No,
or you're doing the injuring?
Well, yeah, I'm not even proud of it, but yeah, a lot of it was the other way. Like I've been fucked up, like my face just mangled from, you're in brawls, people booting you in the face while you're on the ground, you're beating buddy up, you got 3 guys swinging on you. It was an ugly lifestyle.
Like bar fights, or?
Yeah, all of it.
All the time.
Yeah. And then you get known to be a fighter, and then like people would come up to me and they'd be like, oh, like heard you're the guy. Like they'd be like, we'll go outside. 2 hours later, I'll be like, sweet, like I'm drinking my beer, fuck off. Finish my night, you walk outside and you just go fight.
That's what Steve was saying, the boxer I had on, that people always want to fight him just because, like, oh, I hear you're a boxer.
Like my friend group and the people that we were with, it's like, you know, people wanted to.
Were you doing a boxing thing, or you're just boxing?
I just started boxing last year. So, I'm looking to get into, not like professionally or any of that.
Are you doing that white collar boxing?
No, I don't think I'm going to do that.
I'm
doing a little more serious than that. But
I haven't seen really what that is, but I have seen a couple.
I think
maybe even realtors.
I think that's kind of what it is. Like I appreciate the sport of boxing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that shit's kind of like a joke to the sport. I just like I could go in there and clean fucking a realtor's head. Like I'm doing it like I want to compete.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to go pro. But I'm fucking 31 years old.
Yeah.
I've been hit in the head enough times. I got to limit how many times I get hit, but I do have more appreciation for the sport than something like that.
Crazy cardio, hey?
Yeah, like I thought I was fit until you go into a boxing gym and you do even 3-4 rounds with these guys. You'll have a kid 170 pounds.
Yeah.
I'm a big boy and I fought a lot.
Yeah.
It's just not the same. Like there's you got to take into consideration like the rounds and like the breathing. I still don't even know how to breathe correctly. Right? It's
I was
crazy.
playing like I've done a couple like 3 like beer league hockey games in a row, and so I thought, I have great cardio. I only went to Rumble.
Yeah.
And I thought I was gonna die. Like I couldn't drive for a bit. My legs were shaking.
That's hilarious. This
Yeah.
is literally my first class. I'm like, I'm respectful wherever I go.
Yeah.
I knew the boxing world. I'm like, so I didn't come in there a tough guy, but like walking out of there, fucking humbled.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't say shit. I was very quiet now I talk shit when I go in there because we're all buddies.
Yeah.
But when I first went in there and I got smoked by kids that are like 150, 100, you're big, and then the 4th round, you're not so big. You have this little kid just fucking wailing on you, and it's exhausting. Like, it's very humbling.
Has it helped with your other workouts now, the breathing techniques and the cardio?
Yeah, I want to start training for an Ironman too, so I'm focused. Hopefully have a tournament in April. But if it does, I'm not like putting any pressure on it. I would like to get a fight this year, so we'll just keep training, picking away at it, and then that kind of correlates right into the Ironman training.
Do you have a kind of a husky? Is it a husky?
Yeah, you have one too.
Yeah, mine's a little smaller, but do you have to walk that thing a lot?
How small?
Like 30 pounds.
Yeah, mine's like 45, 50.
Yeah, mine's a Pomeranian husky, so.
Okay, you got the mini.
But she needs like 4 hours of walks per day. Like she just paces like a zoo animal.
Yeah, they do a lot of, like mine does not leave my side.
Yeah.
So she was supposed to be a big husky, like 80, 100 pounds. I got her off a husky farm in Saskatchewan. Ended up, right when I got her, like 3 months, she had epilepsy, so seizures. So I almost lost her for like the first couple months, which is pretty sad, pretty shitty. Wish that upon nobody.
Yeah.
But I think the medication, I still have to medicate her every 12 hours. And I think it just stunted her growth. So she's like half the size. But I like the size of her now. I can take her in my car. She comes everywhere with me. Right?
Yeah.
So
I see her. And you got rid of the G-Wagon, hey?
I did. I sold that to buy more properties.
Why did you buy it in the first place? Were you just wanted to show off a little bit?
I've always liked cars, like, and that's the thing about me. I'm never doing it for people or validation. Like, I like this shit.
I had a fan question: was the G-Wagon worth it?
It was.
Yeah.
Mine. So I had the old body. It was like a military tank. I still had my Beamer the whole time.
Yeah.
So, but I ended up driving that more than I wanted to. I love the G-Wagon.
I saw you doing donuts in it.
Yeah, we were whipping it around.
Yeah.
But it's like fucking a tank. It's like driving a tank. The new body is like chilled out, a little bit lower, better suspension. This thing is like a military tank. Like, you could take that fucking thing. Those old bodies, you could take those anywhere.
So you're going to miss the G-Wagon.
Yeah, I sold it. So I already kind of do miss it, but in a way, being honest, I will probably, in the next year or two, I'll buy another G-Wagon, the new body. I'll have a G-Wagon probably the rest of my life.
Nice.
As a secondary car.
Yeah.
It was very clunky. If you have one fucking vehicle, it was like a chore to drive the thing. And there's so much
sick.
horsepower. So when you're going light to light, it's like, it's almost too much.
You should see what I drive. It's like the opposite of a G-Wagon.
What do you got, a Kia?
I had a Kia Soul. It broke down.
There's nothing wrong with this.
I know it's worse now. It's a Toyota Echo. It's like
it's worse.
It's smaller than a Kia Soul, but it looks the same. But I've gotten gas like once in the last month.
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. And like everyone's like, how are the expenses of the G-Wagon? I I'm like, yeah, they're a little bit more, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, look at the fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a military tank. It's going to cost a little bit more. But it wasn't
Yeah.
like substantial enough for me to be like, oh, no, I have to sell this thing because I can't afford it.
Yeah.
I
I
just
mean,
wanna-
if you're buying a G-Wagon, you're probably not too concerned about the
and
gas.
that's exactly it. Like,
Yeah.
if you are worried about, economics.
That's a good down payment on something, though. That's
Yeah, it was.
yeah.
Yeah. But like I'm not an idiot. Like I'm buying properties, so I always told myself before I buy a supercar, I'm gonna have 10 properties. This wasn't quite a supercar. This is my justification in my brain. But I'm like, my rental properties are paying for this thing. The cash flow I make off my rental properties pays for this piece of shit. So that I would never buy something like, and this is my honest advice to people starting out, like, do not like put the fucking ego aside. Like focus on the investments and then have your investments pay for your liabilities.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what advice you had for both for someone wanting to become a realtor and someone wanting to get into investing or real estate.
If you want to become a realtor, just don't. No, I'm kidding.
Competition?
You really have to find the person. A mentor is like my number one advice. That changed my business completely. Find somebody doing something that you want to be doing. Don't take advice from anyone that's not fucking doing what you want to be doing or what you want to have.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's just way too much bullshit advice from people that just...
Everyone on YouTube is a liar.
Right? All
Pretty
these
much.
coaches, these real estate, they haven't even sold a fucking house. So go, whoever, if somebody's doing 100 deals, go, and that's what you want to do, go find that person. That is who you should be listening to because they know the blueprint and the path that it's going to take and the work, everything, and they'll hold you accountable.
Mm-hmm.
Getting in investing, just fucking start. Start young, start late, start as soon as you can. The quicker that you get into investing, it pulls the emotion out of it. Now I have no emotion to a property. I can buy and sell things.
Right.
Need to sell my car, want to buy more properties. Like it's just, you understand that it's a fucking game. Money is a game. It's a monopoly. You have to move money around. You have to move smart. By moving smart, you need to learn from experience again, or find somebody that's doing exactly what you're wanting to do.
Yeah, my plan was to keep my condo and buy another condo for an investment property or move into something and rent mine out. But I think we were too attached to my condo also, so we ended up just selling it and just moving the equity into a house.
And that's it. As long as you're moving money and you're moving,
I didn't want
upwards.
to be a landlord, especially to the condo that I built. Like I chose anyway the options, and I was too attached to it.
Yeah, and
I've
there's
been stressed
emotion,
out.
right?
Yeah.
Emotion, like I just said. Investing, you can't have emotion. You need to just run the numbers. Always look at the downside of a deal. In the worst fucking market, what is this going to rent for? Are my payments going to be covered, right?
What do you think? I know no one can predict, but what do you think is the future for the Calgary market, short and long term, I guess? Long
term, nobody knows. I think we're going to have a reverse market correction when the interest rates drop. I've been saying this for 2-3 years now. You have a golden era to buy real estate right now in Calgary. I don't think people understand the opportunity you have because when those fucking interest rates drop, it is going to be a bloodbath.
Yeah.
And they're going to drop heavily and consistently because of the economy on macroeconomics, not micro, not what Alberta is doing. We're the only ones flourishing in this country. Look at every other market, how they've already corrected, right?
Yeah.
It's people are bleeding out in these big markets. It's election year. Old Trudy has fucked everything up. Though his saving grace, what makes people happy? Affordability, being able to buy, purchasing power, lessening their bills.
Yeah.
Federally, I think they're going to drop them. And then I think U.S., same thing. If they drop them, and then say you get Trump and Pierre in, and then oil and gas, because of Alberta, it's going to be a fucking landslide here.
Yeah, and we have kind of different laws around real estate than Toronto and BC, like with rentals and land tax.
This is how it should be, right? Because it's the rights are more so given to the landlord, where those province, the rights are given to the tenants.
And
That's
you
where you
hear
have
horror
squatters,
stories, yeah.
fucking squatters, rent, like insane rent control there. It's
Mm-hmm.
just, it's bullshit. Why fucking hinder the people getting ahead, right?
Yeah.
It's not like we're the big elites, you know. It's a guy that owns a few properties. Why is he getting fucked so hard? Having people live in his house that he can't even kick them out? Like, in what world is that okay?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Right? And that's what's happening over there. Like, I have investors dumping their money here because they're like, it's such a fucking joke in BC. To invest there, it doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, it's kind of like starting the game over here. They're all just like, let's play again. We did well, let's just play again.
Yeah, you're just, and like business cycles, right? Markets every 8 to 12 years correct. Stocks,
Bonds, yeah.
bonds, and real estate. It just, every 8 to 12 years corrections happen, right? Markets boom. Those markets have been booming when we were on a recession.
Yeah.
Anyone with a brain is just dumping their money over here because we're on a 2-year upcycle, right?
And even so many Calgarians waiting for the interest rate to go down. I don't know. That's why I bought now, because I think everything's going to go so far over asking that I wouldn't have even been able to buy a house.
And we're already in competing with high
Mhm.
interest rates and low inventory.
Yeah.
So what happens with lower interest rates? More buyer demand, more people. There are people that weren't able to buy at a 6-7% interest rate. It drops to 4. Now they're getting approved for mortgages. Now they're able to buy. But unfortunately, that house is $50K more.
Are you telling people to hold off on selling?
It depends what your motivation and motive is, right? If you're looking to do lateral move, doesn't really make sense because you're buying in a high market. But if you're upsizing, downsizing, yeah, 100%. Sell now, get a good number guaranteed. Buy, whatever you're about to buy is going to go up too. And
Yeah.
it depends. Like if you have a condo and they're thinking about buying a house, I'm like, yes, sell the condo because the house in the next year is going to go more in appreciation than the condo will. So it just depends on what is your motivation? What are you trying to do, right?
Yeah, because I was thinking maybe there'd be more inventory when if
That's never happening.
if people were telling their clients to wait.
It's not going to happen.
For bidding wars?
Because there's more immigration. 200,000 people moved here last year. It's just, and then your local market starts to move, upsize, downsize, sell, right? Everyone and their dog's waiting for that interest rate.
Yeah.
The spring market inventory already came and went. As the inventory comes on, it's going and competing, selling in a day.
I bet mine, since I signed, probably would sell for $50K more now.
See what I mean? And how long ago did you buy it?
Like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I guarantee you in a couple months, it'll probably be another 50K. Right.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot of builders are building rentals now. There's like some kind of tax break for builders.
Yeah, and like I have a theory of that as well. It's all the new towers down here. There's no pre-con here, right? But a lot of these developers were getting sued by landlords when they're selling these units off. I've heard a couple horror stories of towers here, structural deficiencies, some shitty stuff, and they slap them up in a few years, these buildings, right? There's going to be shit that piles up. Now, okay, so they're incentivized, like tax breaks, to keep it a rental, but by keeping their inventory out of the market, what are they actually doing?
Yeah,
they're driving up the prices even more.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's kind of making it worse.
And so when they drive up the prices of these buildings, whether, I don't know, a lot of these guys are billionaires, so they might not need it, but you go back to the bank and you can refi it. When you bought it, a lot of these people built this, 5 years ago, started building these cheap material, cheap labor, right? And they're just being finished now and the market's ticking up. It's like these guys were 10 steps ahead.
Yeah. What are we at for time?
Spot on again.
55 minutes?
57, yeah.
I don't know how I do that.
Always check straight at the end.
Right, almost exactly right at the time.
Bang on. It's like you got a watch or something.
I should just keep a clock. Yeah, I mean, we could just pretty much wrap it up.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
No, it was good. It was good, man. Thanks.
How
for
did that
having me.
feel?
That was pretty good. First podcast. I didn't
Yeah.
swear as much as I thought.
I didn't notice. Probably a lot, though, I think.
Eh?
Not that much.
Doesn't matter.
What are you guys?
We're all adults here.
I'd say an average amount.
Yeah, we're all right. I'll take that.
Thanks for coming.
I appreciate it. This is
I
good.
kind of just take everything off and I'm just done.
I'm done. I was done when you were done.
Thanks.
I appreciate it, fella.